You're watching Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine. I'm Pamela Harden. His Majesty the King celebrated the traditional day of offering, or the Chunipa Losar, with the people of Lindsay. A week-long Melam Chenmo, or the Great Prayer Ceremony in Samrup Dzongkhar, concluded this week with Sewang, or the Blessing for the Long Life, by His Holiness the Jekhempo. And Lenchen String Topge and his delegation returned back after a week-long official visit in India. His Majesty the King celebrated the traditional day of offering, or the Chunipa Losar, with the people of Lindsay.
Before leaving to Auso from Lindsay, His Majesty visited Lindsay Zong and offered butter lamps and prayers. In Auso, over 1,000 people from 8 Geoks under Lindsay district and also from some parts of Monga district gathered in Auso Middle Secondary School football ground to celebrate the day. His Majesty hosted a toka for the people. His Majesty also gifted a jersey cow along with calf, farming tools, mobile phones, television sets and rice cookers to the farmers through lucky draw. Most people have come to meet His Majesty the King in person. People said it was one of the most joyous Chunipa Losar celebration for them and would be remembered throughout their life.
First in the King Najimbe Simgaila, Midisna Pumbe at the Chikazabe, the same Hikumila.
So now the mother picture got to Kitok Nam Sam same card, same Nam Samra Gong Della. She soon told the Tohanang Yateda.
In the East, the first day of the 12th Buddhist month is celebrated as a new year. It is said that on this day, representatives from all regions of Bhutan offered bilwa or offerings to Shabtungaung Namgyal to express their love and devotion. Hence, the day has been observed as Bilwa Piwi Nim, or the traditional day of offering. Meanwhile, His Majesty also visited Dunkar Naksang to offer butter lamps and prayers. Our reporter Pema Namge says that from Auso all the way till Dunkar, people waited in groups along the highway to receive and offer Sokchang to His Majesty the King. Compiled for Pema Namge in Lindsay, Sonam Hamo for PBS News.
A week-long Melam Chenmo, or the Great Prayer Ceremony in Samrup Dzongkhar, concluded this week with the Sewang, or the Blessing for the Long Life, by His Holiness the Jekhempo. The prayer ceremony was conducted for the well-being of the king, country and the people.
Thousands of people gathered to receive blessing from His Holiness the Jekhempo on the final day of the prayer ceremony. Among the devotees, 65-year-old Doji had come all the way from Tashkang to attend the prayer ceremony. He attended Melam Chenmo for the first time.
I'm attending Melam Chenmo for the first time. I don't really know what to wish and pray for, but I pray for long life and that all activity for the benefit of sentient beings.
Like Doji, there are others who attended the prayer ceremony for the first time. They said it was a blessing for them since they did not travel outside to receive blessing and teachings.
I was eagerly waiting for the event to happen. In other Dzongkhars, Melam Chenmo is regularly organized. Finally, we managed to organize in Samrup Dzongkhar and people were very happy. Now I feel spiritually content. I pray to end my sufferings and to be born as human being in my next life.
Meanwhile, to maintain a clean and waste-free environment during the prayer ceremony, all the waste produced during the ceremony were collected by the members of the Friends of Police. The Zero Waste Melam Chenmo was initiated by the organizers of the Melam Chenmo, Samrup Dzongkhar Initiative and Sam Dzongkhar Tromde.
Here during Melam Chenmo, we didn't see that much waste problem because we have waste management committee here comprised of health officials from Samsung Hospital, and Thomde Environment Officer, and also Samsung initiative from Deotangla. So three of these with other committee members, they always monitor around our Melamchuma area.
Our reporter in Samsonka said that His Holiness the Jekhempo informed the gathering that it is important to take responsible actions in maintaining a clean and waste-free environment. Kampal for Kilonchu, Sharab Sangmo for BBS News.
Lenchen Sringtopge and his delegation arrived after a week-long official visit in India. Prime Minister Sringtopge made an official visit to India at the invitation of the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi.
During the visit in India, Prime Minister Sringtopge attended the vibrant Gujarat Summit and also visited a number of very successful projects initiated by the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Gujarat. The project includes the Gujarat International Finance Tech City Solar Park, Kaushal Vardhan Kendra, a skill development institute, Sabarmati Riverfront, Garima Park and Keith City. Further, Prime Minister also visited the Buddhist sites in Vadanagar. On 11th January, Prime Minister Sringtopge addressed the inaugural session of the vibrant Gujarat Summit along with several other visiting dignitaries. On 10th January, Prime Minister Sringtopge met Prime Minister Modi and had wide-ranging discussions on bilateral relations as well as on regional and international issues of mutual interest and concern. The two prime ministers expressed satisfaction with the existing close ties of friendship and understanding between India and Bhutan and reiterated their resolve to further strengthen their cooperation. The two prime ministers agreed that cooperation in the field of hydropower was mutually beneficial and a win-win situation for both countries. Lenchen also met with the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Anandaben Patil. They discussed areas of cooperation between Bhutan and Gujarat, including promotion of investments from Gujarat in Bhutan and other business links. In New Delhi, Prime Minister called on the President of India at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. He then met with the Minister of Home Affairs, Rajnath Singh, Minister of External Affairs, Sushma Swaraj, Minister of Finance, Arun Jaitley, Minister of Defence, Manohar Parrikar, Minister of Power, Piyush Goyal, National Security Advisor Ajay Doval and Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh. While in India, Prime Minister visited the holy sites of Varanasi and Bodh Gaya. In Bodh Gaya, Prime Minister was presented a sapling of the Bodhi tree as a gift by the people of India to the people of Bhutan to celebrate the 60th birth anniversary of His Majesty the 4th Druk Gyalpo. According to the joint press release, Lenchen's visit to India reinforced the tradition of regular visits at the highest levels and extensive exchange of views between close friends. The release also says it further strengthened the bilateral relations between India and Bhutan. Sonam Rinchen for BBS News.
BBS spoke to the Economic Affairs Minister Norwanshu, who accompanied Lenchen Sringtopge on his visit to India.
I think the most successful was his speech at Vibrant Gujarat Summit. What had happened, I think the impact of the speech was that it invoked a deep reverence to our fourth king and His Majesty the King for their visionary leadership and the visionary policies, whether it is in the fronts of environment, culture or democracy. And the speech had also created respect for our country as an example to the whole world, and also generated a lot of goodwill towards the people of Bhutan. Honorable Lenchen received the sapling of the Bodhi tree on behalf of the people of Bhutan, His Majesty the King and the country. It's very significant because the people of India and the government of India had presented this to our country, and we happen to be one of the 4 countries only in the whole of the world to have this honor to receive the Bodhi sapling. And it's also significant because the Bodhi tree sapling has been presented to us during a time when we are celebrating the 60th birth anniversary of our 4th Chuk Kalpo.
Bhutan now has a sapling of a Bodhi tree from Bodh Gaya in India. Lenchen Sring Topke and the Dorji Lebe of the Shung Drasang received the sapling from the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya during his visit to India. The sapling was presented to Bhutan to celebrate the 60th birth anniversary of His Majesty the 4th Chugyalpo. If everything goes fine, Dagachu hydropower project will finally become operational from next month. The project was aimed to be launched in October last year, but failed after the connection channel developed cracks during a test.
The 10-meter connection channel is newly built after the previous one was partially washed away during a test last October. It was while testing the generating units a few days before its launch that the connection channel developed cracks. Had the project been launched in October, by now it would have contributed 160 million Newton to the government coffer. However, the cost for the reconstruction of the channel will be borne by the contractor as the project has not been taken over by the government yet. Meanwhile, works at the project are in full swing with more than 98% of it complete.
From 8th February onwards, so the first unit of the electromechanical equipment will be completed and the commercial operation will start from 15th February onwards, and the second unit will take about 1 month after that. So which means the second unit will be completed latest by 15th March 2015.
Construction of the 126 megawatt Dagachu hydropower project began in 2009 and was supposed to be complete by 2013. But poor geological conditions in the area led to the delay. The project is expected to cost 12 billion Newton, which is an increase of 4 billion from what was initially estimated. Once it becomes operational, electricity generated from the project will be sold to Tata Power. Compiled for Phuba, Tashudan, BBS News, Kelifo.
Getsa mini power plant in Chumen, Bumtang has been defunct for the last 1.5 years. However, the Bhutan Power Corporation is working to restore the mini power plant to curb the frequent power blackouts in Bumtang Zongkhak.
This mini power project in Chumi was established in 1989. It used to supply power to most parts of Bumtang and also to some parts of Trongsa Zongkhak. However, the mini power plant stopped functioning in October 2013 when its turbine and some other mechanical components were damaged. Officials from the BPC in Bumtang said that they had to halt the operation due to cost escalation and parts to be replaced were not available. But today, BPC is now planning to restart the power plant by replacing complete set of the mechanical and electrical parts. Most of the existing infrastructure, such as water reservoir and the transformers, including the existing building, will also be partly renovated.
Once the mini hydel starts functioning, it can benefit overall Bumtang Zongkhak. If we could generate 1.5 megawatt of power from the hydel, we can minus 1.5 megawatt from 2.68 megawatt of power we need for Bumtang Zongkhak. With this, we can generate income for the BPC and also render continuous service to the people.
The feasibility study for the renovation of the power plant was conducted by a couple of international companies last year. The BPC at present is working on the contract agreement for the renovation works. Compiled for Komal Kharka in Bumtang, Sonam Rinchen for BBS News.
Prime Minister this week called for an emergency meeting with the relevant agencies to review the issue concerning the Bachelors of Education graduates. According to a press release, Prime Minister directed the Education Ministry and the RCSC to immediately undertake a reassessment of the teacher deployment and decide how many can be employed on contract. The press release also states that the concerned agencies should look at recruiting on contract in central schools. The Prime Minister also has directed the Labour Ministry to look at the possibility of recruitment in Thailand and abroad. The Prime Minister, according to the press release, has directed Education, Labour Ministries and the Gross National Happiness Commission to submit a joint proposal to address the issue by the end of the week. Most of the B.Ed graduates from Paro and Samse colleges of education earlier this month raised concerns on slashing the number of slots by the RCSC. Many say teaching is a noble profession, but retention of qualified teachers continues to be a problem according to the Ministry of Education. The Annual Education Statistics 2014 reveals that there is considerable number of teachers leaving the profession every year. From 2008 to 2014, more than 1,500 teachers have left the teaching profession.
The Annual Education Statistics 2014 shows that from 179 teachers who left the teaching profession last year, 21 left due to superannuation. 40 had to leave the profession due to unfortunate events such as death and termination. 1 left upon the contract expiration and 2 had to compulsorily retire. But the majority of those who left were voluntary resignation. More than 100 left the profession on their own.
We have majority from the people going to US and Australia. Like we also have teachers going to Royal University of Bhutan, and we also have teachers resigning on domestic ground, especially when it comes to the teachers coming from India. When they get other opportunities, that time they resign. And we also have teachers resigning based on other reasons, like wants to set up their own business, and then there are also some teachers who are joining the private schools.
The highest number of teachers leaving the profession is primary school teachers. There were nearly 50 teachers who left the teaching profession from primary schools. More than 100 teachers left from lower, middle and higher secondary schools and 3 from the extended classrooms. However, the teachers leaving the profession have decreased last year as compared to more than 260 teachers in 2013. At present, there are more than 7,800 teachers in the government schools. Chetan Dupchu, PBS News.
The opposition party reiterated to reinstate the 3 secretaries back to the service until an independent and transparent investigation is completed by the Royal Civil Service Commission. The Member of Parliament, Hishizimba, said the opposition party is disappointed by the government's decision to surrender the 3 secretaries to the RCSC without thorough investigation. MP Ishizimba shared that such decision by the government has disturbed the minds of the civil servants. He underlined that the RCSC has also pointed out that the surrendering of the 3 secretaries was not in line with the Civil Service Act.
아니 배우를 때도 다 저기 카드에 같이 배우고는 때 수품이 제대로 마바다 라디 제소빈베 야티 저라 가라기 대시베라다로 같이 남선 레진바라 나선은 세션이 다 저기 카드를 제소가 진짜 뒤가 조금 지내면다 제소가 좀 로그라저라 올라가서 쓰고다.
Furthermore, MP Dojuwandi said the decision can be perceived as victimization and penalization of secretaries for actually executing the directives of the government.
This is a case of the secretaries being victimized, penalized, or actually executing and implementing government's directive, or standing up for the government to defend the government's position, to defend the secretary-to-Bhutan relationship is the cause.
On the discontinuation of the Committee of Secretaries, the opposition said this will result in inefficient government. Opposition says the Committee of Secretaries plays a critical role in looking after the overall government policies. And without the committee, policies involving cross-sectoral issues will be undermined. Pemal Hadan, PBS News. The first batch of students from Phongmigyok in Tishigang are undergoing a month-long training on operation and maintenance of power tiller at Khangma. The training is provided by the officials from the Agriculture Machinery Center at Khangma.
The Regional Office of Agriculture Machinery Center at Khangma is mandated to provide training to farmers, school dropouts, students and trainees of technical training institutes of the 6 Eastern Dzongkhaks. The training is free of cost with minimal allowances by government. They also provide specialized farm mechanization training on request basis. This is one of the trainings provided by them with request from Dungse Middle Secondary School in Phongmekyok. A total of 17 students, including 7 girls, are undergoing the operation and maintenance of power tiller training. One by one, participant takes turn to learn how to operate the power tiller. They even learn how to plow field with the tiller. The students said they are thankful to the government for such initiative.
If I stay at home, I would not know anything about power tiller. After coming here, I came to know how it breaks down and how I can fix it, and also how to maintain and operate a power tiller.
After having the knowledge, it can create employment opportunity. And not only that, I can also teach others when I get back to my village.
For example,
Participants are taught both theory and practical. They are also taught how to fix and maintain power tillers. Meanwhile, the trainer said it is challenging to train farmers.
This is quite tough, since this is not just theory, but there is practical also. And while training the students and farmers, there are a lot of difference. Since the farmers are illiterate, it's difficult for them to understand the theory part. For the students, it is easy for them to understand when I write it down on the board.
The training is expected to not only mitigate one of the biggest challenges of national interest in creating self-employment, but also to solve the shortage of hiring operators during cultivating and harvesting time. The training will conclude on 31st January, and such trainings will also be provided during vacations to the youth from far-flung places.
Operating a power tiller is not as easy as driving a normal car. It needs a lot of strength and it is quite challenging, especially for a girl. But these students here are not only making use of the winter vacation, but they are getting paid as well. And of course, getting extra knowledge is obvious. So next winter, if you are interested in knowing how to operate a power tiller, you shouldn't miss this training. With cameraman Thukten Chofel, this is Cheche, reporting for BBS from Konglung.
In the year 2002, the government gave land to 30 shopkeepers of Dagana town in the new town area. There were more than 50 shopkeepers. Those who got the land have already constructed houses, but the rest are still hopeful they will get a plot of land in the new town area.
Shopkeepers who have not got land in the new town area are those who have been doing business in the old town for more than 7 to 8 years. And those who got are the ones who have been doing business for many years. They have constructed buildings in the new town area and moved in, but others who did not get land either moved into the buildings or made temporary huts near the new town area. Since the huts are located away from the town area, shopkeepers said they hardly get customers.
We are not happy. We have to pay business tax, land tax, but there is no income. So we get frustrated. It would be nice if we get a plot of land too.
We came here last year. It's exactly a year since we shifted here and we faced a lot of problems. We're facing drinking water shortage. Also, income is not so good. If we import a truckload of goods, we don't have to import for a year. We would be grateful if the government can grant us kidu for a plot of land, as we have to depend on business for our livelihood.
Before, when we stayed in the old town, we used to get 3 to 4,000 newtrum every day. After we came here, it is difficult to get even 100 newtrum. There are customers and we depend on business for our livelihood. So we are facing a lot of problem. If government give us a plot of land, we don't have to pay rent.
There is no water. It's very dusty and we hardly get customers here. The town is closer, so people go there, and some shopkeepers have set up wholesale shops. Last time we went to Thimphu to request for a plot of land. They said they will give, but we have not heard anything.
The Dzongkhag engineers said they have neither received any order from the ministry, nor the Dzongkhag has any plans to expand the town.
Before, the land was given by the government, but these days, as per the Land Act of 2007, we don't have the power to give additional plot of land. What they've said has been discussed in the Dzongkhag Tsokdu and informed the ministry. The Works and Human Settlement Minister came here last year and the people raised the issue with the minister. The minister told them that it does not have the power to give land, but will discuss the matter. The Dzongkhag does not have the power to give land.
However, the shopkeepers are not giving up hope. They said until they get a plot of land in the new town area, they will continue to do business from the rented house and the temporary huts they have made. Compiled for Puba, Teshuran, PBS News, Kelifo.
Well, that is all we have for this week. Join us again next week for another edition of Bhutan This Week. Till then, goodbye.